But the substance of what you are reading is what we are talking about. It's the desire, it's the passion for what you want to know and what you want to do.
Have you seen poverty actually causing some of all these things?
It's just who we are. It's not poverty.
Welcome to Noble TV Live. Today we are talking about the diminishing culture of reading amongst the youths. Now, with me to share these thoughts is no other person than Mrs. Victoria Chukura. You are welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. In our society today, unlike growing up, I don't know your own time, you know, when young people used to compete with themselves, you know, among themselves, talking about how many novels have you read, talk about James Bond, talk about Harley Chase,
yes,
and
what's the other one?
No Longer Artists, and all that. Irrespective of whether they were recommended for you or not, you know, these were avenues for you to actually learn how to speak and write the English language. Now, today, the trend is actually changing, where some persons among the youth will just write you maybe a letter, you know, just write you as in you, you are invited, and all that, you as I know. So, what is your take on this diminishing culture of reading in the society?
It's alarming, and it boils down to this use of technology in a negative way. And that's what we are saying today, that a subordinate will want to write you, and in the sentence is full of a whole lot of abbreviations. You reading it, you won't even understand whatever he or she is trying to communicate to you. So it's really alarming in communication business. It's alarming. Not reading, it's really going down. Then I want to also say that in reading, the substance of what you are reading matters too. Because if you want to say reading generally, you will find out that we have our phones. We are reading. But what the nature of what we are reading is what is causing this diminishing returns in the reading process. Because like you rightly said, in time past, we used to read novels. On your own, you just go and buy, even if it is recommended to you in the school or not. You just have that burning desire of wanting to read. Reading up to reading newspapers. Sometimes in my own time too, which is not too far from yours, we used to go to supermarkets to read novels. Those big supermarkets. You will read it, and you will fold it in such a way that maybe when you come again, you will go around that shelf. You may be lucky if they've not sold it. You will continue from where, because it will be there for you when you come back to shop in that place. You will see it. We used to save money to buy novels those days, and we used to derive joy and pride in knowing how many novels you have read for the week. If you're able to finish a big novel for the week, friends will applaud you. They will appreciate you. They will even want to know the novel, the title of that novel that you have read for the week. So, but for now, it's no longer so, because of technology. They read everything online. They say it's online. It's online. But what they read is what is causing this diminishing in the reading culture. Okay,
now do you think some of these factors that are actually affecting the reading culture may include poverty? Because you just mentioned the issue of newspapers. A lot of persons, you know, complain that they can no longer buy newspapers, for example. Not to talk of going to the supermarket now to say you are shopping for you to now read a novel. What are you doing in the supermarket when you don't have money? Or maybe some persons will say they don't even have money to go to the bookshop now. And in some places, you don't even find bookshops. You know, unlike before, where you see, you know, you saw bookshops littered all over the place. So
standard bookshops.
Standard bookshop. You are looking for a bookshop now, you can't find any.
It's true.
You know, because people are not going to buy. Do you see poverty actually causing some of all these things?
I won't say it's poverty. It's just who we are. It's not poverty. Okay, if we say poverty, but they have money to buy data. Is data cheap? Data is not cheap. Data is not cheap. If you want to say, okay, the cheapest of the data is 1,000 naira for, is it 3.5
maybe
MB or maybe so that many novels, how many, what will you read within that space of time? If actually you want to read a novel, it will not carry you. You know, if we say it is poverty, but you have data. So going to buy it manually on the shelf. These days now, even newspaper, you can download it online. Is the desire, is the passion for what you want to know and what you want to do that is diminishing. Because most times, what we do online, is it not reading? We read. We read. But the substance of what we are reading is what we are talking about. It's what we are talking about. Is it something that influences? Is it something that supports the system? Is it something that is encouraging? Is it something that you want the world to know that, or is it something you can share with your friends positively, that you take pride in saying, oh, I've read this thing, I've read this thing. Otherwise, you have newspaper online, you have videos online, you have films online, everything is there online. But where do we direct our attention to?
Yes, okay. And in communication also, you know, those days we were told that if you read newspapers, it will help, you know, in shaping your line of thoughts. It will also help your grammatic, you know, construct, you know, some of this time and all that. You know, like you just mentioned, now people reading online, you don't go through newspapers, and you are reading something that you thought, maybe some of them think that some of these things were just placed there. Some people wrote them.
Yes.
So if you are reading the wrong things, you'll be learning the wrong things.
It's true.
So if you are not going through, so now, what is your advice to people who actually want to take advantage of the internet? If you want to go through the internet now for reading, you know, if you don't want to buy the books now, the hard copies, you want to go, what is your advice to them?
I think there's what they call e-learning or e-reading, e-everything. You just go to Google, click on the topic or if you have the novel or if you have the newspaper, the brand that you want to read, then you just click on it, and it will come up with all the editorials or the topics in the newspaper. Then you can read it, you can share it, you can also download. If you want the full newspaper, you can download it online. But I want to also say that parents should assist in doing that, because I remember growing up, my dad used to buy paper every two days. Then he doesn't skip weekends. We always look forward to him buying weekend newspaper, so that we can read some of the very interesting stories. And then one of my cousins used to buy like a Vanguard a lot because of the Mr. and Mrs. column. He would just be compiling them and compiling them. At the end of the year, we now gum it into a book, album. It will now be a gift that he shares to members of the family. That's what he does with his own. So parents should try, because I was with a family recently where we were discussing about newspaper, and I was trying to tell them of a particular brand of newspapers that weekends they normally have magazine in the middle of the newspaper. So one of the child just run to us, Daddy, what is newspaper? What are you talking about? What is newspaper? What is magazine? Mommy, will you buy it? Daddy, will you buy? You know, maybe she thinks it's one special thing or gift. So I want to encourage parents, once in a week, you can buy a newspaper. Not all the children have access to phones. Those that have access to phones can download. Encourage them to download the newspapers so that they can read it. It will be physical in the parlor. If you visit home those days, you see newspapers on the dining table. When you visit parents those days, you will see different kinds of newspapers and magazines littered on the table, even the center table. But these days, what do we find? So some children coming up today don't even know whether there exists a physical newspaper. They don't know it.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mrs. Chukura, for coming on the show. And I like your perspective. Parents should, once in a while, at least, you cannot buy every day, once in a while, buy at least to tell your children that there is something called newspaper. And what is contained in the newspaper includes news, features, and other articles that may edify. So don't just sit there and say the reading culture is diminishing. What are you doing about it? and what are the benefits of reading. And if you read before and you benefited, you should also do much also to transfer the culture to your children, to people around you, to let them know that anytime you stop reading, you start dying instrumentally, because knowledge is power. Where do you get knowledge? Through reading. And of course, maybe listening to programs like we give you all the time on Noble TV Live. So thank you for being there. Just like, share, comment, as we also expect that you will click the notification button for similar updates. Thank you, and bye-bye. Augustino Milo has been my name here.